Thanks for tuning in to this week's edition of the Brett and Matt Show. As always, he's Brett. I'm Matt. We've kind of had a little lull, I guess, lately. Not quite as much sports topics going on, so we'll see what we can come up with. But I think we're gonna start out this show with a little bit of some training camp battles, since training camp's on the horizon. And I guess we'll just start with our team here in Wisconsin, the Green Bay Packers. So looking at the Packers, one camp battle I'm definitely really intrigued about is the wide receiver battle. We have
It's deep.
it's deep. I mean, we have Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams. His Aaron Rodgers said in some mini camps that that he thinks Devontae is going to be a star. And Coach McCarthy had very high praise too about Devontae, so I expect him to be a big contributor. And then there's some unknown guys. There's Jeff Janis from last year. There's Jared Abbrederis, our boy from Wisconsin, coming off an ACL injury. So the two of them were rookies last year. And then this year we drafted a guy in the third round, Ty Montgomery. He's supposed to be a kick return and punt return specialist, but rumor has it he's looked pretty good in receiving drills too. So, I mean, it's deep. I'm not sure I see all of those guys making the final roster. I think I don't know. It's going to be tight. I guess I'm a little worried for Abbrederis. I mean, he's going to have to compete.
He might be the odd man out. Unfortunately, mostly because obviously Montgomery is a punt and kick return guy, which if Abbrederis was going to contribute much of anything, that would have been his area. He's also not coming off an ACL injury like Abby is, so. I mean, obviously Abbrederis, though, he's got a little practice in, so he'll know the offense at least. But at the same time, I mean, you don't really know how well he's going to have come back, and then they just drafted, a pretty explosive guy at the positions that Abbrederis would be in. So he might be the odd man out, which kind of sucks because I'd love to see a wide receiver from Wisconsin actually do something in the NFL for the first time since the Chris Chambers, Lee Evans era.
Yeah, that would be nice. The other guy that would probably be on that bubble would be Jeff Janis. He's got some physical tools that Abbrederis doesn't have, and that he's really big, like 6'2", 6'3", 215. Ran a 4.40. His biggest issue last year, from kind of what I read, was sounded like he had trouble getting the playbook down and stuff like that. So another year in the system. Hopefully that'll help. Another interesting little battle. There's a couple here. I mean, that I just kind of thought of though is the backup quarterback position. There's a kid.
Tolzien, baby.
Brett, you better watch yourself. He's been put on notice. We drafted a guy in Brett Hundley, who, if he would have went pro instead of coming back, he probably would have been drafted much higher. It's really interesting how that always happens to guys sometimes. But anyway, so we took Brett Hundley, which, I mean, Scott Tolzien was kind of put on notice, I think, that, hey, you're going to have to, earn your job in this one. And granted, now, I don't know the kid's name, but there is a kid, I think he's from Whitewater, that is another arm. I wish the kid well, obviously coming from a Division III school. That cannot be easy to make that transition, especially at the quarterback level, to compete in the NFL. But I mean, he's going to be given a small opportunity, but I mean, he's obviously got a pretty steep. He's a little bit behind the eight ball there. With Hundley, he's going to get the cushion of being a rookie, and Scotty's been in the system now for a little bit, so that's kind of what I meant. I mean, he's got to be able to show that he can run the offense, which, when he had to come in for Rodgers a couple of years ago, he showed he could get the offense down the field. That wasn't the issue. The issue was throwing the ball to the other team.
he's had a couple issues there, but I think he's improved a lot since his time even at Wisconsin. Like as at Wisconsin, he was, for a time probably one of the better quarterbacks to come through there, especially his final 2 years, getting to a couple Rose Bowls. Right before Russell Wilson came in and kind of continued that. Now, obviously, we're with Stave there, but that's a totally different story. Good luck, Paul Chryst. But yeah, obviously Blanchard's probably not going to be the guy. He's well into fourth with, Rodgers obviously being the best quarterback in the game, maybe the best player behind Watt. And then, like you said, Tolzien and Hundley. I honestly think this will be Tolzien's job. It should be Tolzien's job to lose, and I don't expect Hundley to come in and take it from him. He will offer some things that obviously Tolzien doesn't, particularly on the move. Hundley's a much better athlete. So if the pocket breaks down, he can escape. Though Tolzien did have that nice touchdown torpedo run a couple years ago, right, Matt? Come on, you like that? He juked some guys out of their shoes.
I did. Did we end up winning the game?
I don't think so. Okay.
No, we didn't. Because Scott was busy throwing the ball to the other team.
It happens, all right?
It happens. It doesn't happen in Packers. Come on.
That is one thing, obviously, that Rodgers, having a quarterback like Rodgers kind of spoils us because he doesn't turn it over a lot, especially in, the red zone. I think he has, an absurdly low number in the red zone, or interceptions in the red zone, even touchdowns. What is he, 1 or 2 for the last couple of years as far as turnovers go?
You mentioned J.J. Watt, and the Packers played the Texans at Houston a couple of years ago, and Rodgers threw 6 touchdowns against that defensive player.
He didn't cover the receivers.
Well, he didn't do much of anything if Rodgers was throwing 6 touchdowns.
Shit. Let's look. I got to look that up. Continue on. What's the next thing that we're going to talk about? I'm going to look up that game stats.
Better. Watt did sack Aaron Rodgers and then did the title belt thing. But
That's right. I do remember that.
Rodgers probably got the last laugh because he was busy scoring touchdowns while Watt's team was busy losing. The last, big Packers question mark is probably the inside linebacker position. Apparently it was reported that the Packers decided that they're going to keep Matthews at that spot. And Matthews actually has seemed open to it. On one end, you're taking away one of the better pass rushers in the league and sticking him in the middle. At another end, you're probably putting you're probably putting your either 1 or 2 best athlete on defense smack dab in the middle of the defense and just be like, hey, go make plays, do what you do. The only reason I say probably 1 or 2, even Julius Peppers at age 36 or 37 is probably still, I don't know, he's got to be one of the best overall athletes, I would say. He's just a freak. So we drafted a guy. We drafted Ryan out of Michigan. Got to see him play a little bit in the Big Ten. I actually like him. I like him a lot. I think he's got good instincts. It's just you're asking what we take it, 4th round. You're asking the 4th round guy to step in and be a solid contributor. The other guy is Sam Barrington. After that, we're pretty thin in linebacker. I don't know if there's some secret camp guy we have that's going to come out of nowhere, but I'd be a little worried that we didn't address that issue.
Maybe we're hoping somebody gets cut, and we'll just pick up a guy. Maybe. That's not something we normally do. So, unless they're like a rookie that hasn't played yet, that we kind of kept our eye on and just for some reason didn't make the team, like a 1st or 2nd year guy that hasn't really played yet. I kind of like the idea. It kind of sucks because you think edge rushers, and obviously that's Clay Matthews and everything he's able to bring. But if you look at, say, Wisconsin's football team the last year or two, the 2 guys that have had the most sacks have usually actually been our inside linebackers in the same 3-4 sort of blitzing style scheme. It adds, I think, another dimension, and that's the bonus of playing in the 3-4. You don't always know where that pressure's coming from. So I think you can actually keep Clay inside and let him rush from there there. You can move him outside on certain plays, and he's going to bring more versatility that way, honestly.
Brett, do you know why Wisconsin has to get pressure with their middle linebackers? Because our stinking outside guys don't do diddly squat.
What?
You have the blitz
no.
on the inside.
Vince Eagle is going to be an NFL outside linebacker, and Schobert is a great athlete out there.
Come on.
What? Are you nuts? You watched that video I sent to you of Schobert doing the between the legs dunk, right? That's our linebacker.
The guy can dunk. Are you serious? That doesn't mean that he's... Come on.
A between the legs dunk from a 6'2", 240 or 235-pound guy? That's pretty athletic, if you ask me.
It's pretty athletic. It's good. Too bad that his hand technique must be garbage and just gets picked up by offensive linemen.
Who on the last Auburn series were in the bowl game, I think he blew up 2 of those 3 plays and pushed them back and made them miss that field goal or get them into bad field goal position too. All Joe Schobert. All right, our linebackers aren't the issue, especially outside. Those guys were good. Actually, our inside linebackers were good, but they graduated. But I'm just saying, I like that idea because you can bring pressure from him if you want to. There, you can still slide him outside in certain situations if you need it. Now that's going to obviously make Ryan or Barrington have to be the inside guys, which again, kind of sketchy. I don't really know how I feel about those guys having to play a lot. Now, if they can show up and they can be productive, hey, that's cool. But I'm not honestly expecting a whole lot, which is kind of scary. And I mean, I know we've given a lot of shit about AJ Hawks playing, especially because of where he was drafted, top 5th pick overall.
Yeah, 5th pick overall.
So maybe he didn't live up to necessarily being that dynamic, game changer that you hope you get in the top 5. But he's probably still going to be a little better than the guys we have now. He
might, and he never missed a start, which is crazy to think about, especially at a position where you take a lot of punishment and you're dealing a lot of punishment.
He never missed a start?
Nope.
Jeez, really?
And then, so I don't know if you saw this or not, but this was, it might have been earlier this week. Actually, it was earlier this week. He had a fan ask him to tackle him when he's out golfing again, and so he obliged. Did you see the video of it?
I didn't.
Do you know why we cut AJ Hawk? Because AJ Hawk's busy trying to deliver big hits instead of wrapping up. Just crushed the guy, but he didn't wrap up at all. No wonder AJ Hawk doesn't miss in tackles left and right.
Did the guy look like he was hurt?
Oh, I don't know. He got smoked though.
I'm gonna have to look that up now because I saw that it was a thing. I didn't actually watch the video clip.
Yeah, it was kind of funny and entertaining. So I mean, around the league, some other intriguing camp battles. I guess obviously we got quarterback is obviously the biggest position, so might as well kind of take a look at a little bit of those. But we can start with the number 2 pick, Marcus Mariota versus Zach Mettenberger out of Tennessee. I don't know. I mean, Mariota's got to get the start, right? Or do you think they're going to be cautious with them?
I think it all depends, obviously, on how much he shows in the pocket. Considering the sort of offense that he came from, because I don't think that they're going to change the offense to kind of fit him on the. No, maybe they do if he just wows them. And they have to adjust the playbook. Like if they can do that, I think obviously Seattle kind of did that with Russell Wilson, where he kind of started wowing them to like, okay, so you'll be the starter. We'll have to adjust a couple things, get you out of the pocket a little bit more than we would have if, say, Flynn won the job. But it seemed to work for them. I don't know how easy and accommodating offensive coordinators always are. Maybe they like to stick with things more. Which another thing, too, relating to offensive coordinators and sticking with it could obviously be Denver and Peyton Manning with Kubiak. That could be interesting as well. To kind of see if they do a lot of stretch stuff and make like 39-year-old quarterback get on the edge a little bit. But I mean, have you been impressed with anything that Mettenberger's done at all? Like, would you give him that chance still? I mean, you have to, right?
Well, it depends. Well, what week are we playing the Houston Texans? Because I really don't want Mariota out there that week.
So, I don't know. When do we play them?
I don't know, but Menberg is busy talking smack to the best defensive player on the planet. It's not exactly a smart idea.
Yeah. Oh, so by the way, J.J. Watt did have 2 sacks in that game against Green Bay. Obviously, didn't help.
Don't even know why I blame.
I bet Mariota wins it.
I think he will too. Another interesting battle.
Talk about your boy.
Browns. Oh boy, that was a big Johnny. I'm still a big Johnny Manziel supporter. I just think he ended up in a shitty situation in Cleveland.
Well, Cleveland usually is. Oh, you should ask Jim about that. If he really thought that place was a misrun dump, he probably wouldn't have said anything because he likes those guys. I think that, or at least the coaching.
And that's the thing. I was like, after I just said what I said, like, well, now I feel kind of bad because Jim made it sound like they're trying to get things right and they're good defensively. So that's always nice. But
it's against the run is where they struggled, right?
Yeah, they weren't very good against the run, but I mean, they're trying to put the right pieces around in place, and but yeah, I mean let's be real. McCown's not the answer. There's probably a good chance Johnny Manziel might not be the answer. I mean, Johnny Manziel might be out of the league
after his rookie deal. You gotta think somebody if he fizzles out.
There's enough teams that are super quarterback needy. I agree. I think someone would take another shot at him. But unless he ends up being the real deal and can get Cleveland to some victories, I don't know if he's gonna be around there. I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to watch the rest of his career here and see if it actually blossoms into something decent or if just football just didn't work out for him.
I mean, if I'm like in another organization or another GM and like Johnny Manziel fizzles out, but he's in Cleveland, are you thinking, shit, he couldn't even win the job in Cleveland? Or are you thinking, it's Cleveland, they probably screwed the kid up, let's give him a chance?
I'm thinking, it's Cleveland. Personally, that's just my gut feeling. So I mean, there's that battle to pay attention to once camp starts. Another one is I just thought of. Philadelphia. We got Sam Bradford coming off an injury again. Actually, rumor has it that Bradford turned down an extension. He turned down an extension because he's doing the Joe Flacco and banking on himself.
Which for a guy that's always hurt, probably a stupid idea. So maybe it'll work out for him, though. That's a big gamble, actually, because, I don't think he's really been healthy his entire career, honestly, and he hasn't really shown much when he has been. He hasn't always been the problem with the Rams, but he certainly hadn't been an answer either.
Right. I don't think the Rams did a good job surrounding him with offensive talent either.
They certainly tried, but they just kept picking the wrong guys.
Yeah, they didn't pick the right guys, and they hit really nicely on the defensive players. But so I mean, they got him. They brought back Mark Sanchez. Tim Tebow is there, right?
Tebow is there. Who do you handicap that to? It's got to be Bradford's job to lose, right? I mean, I know they won a couple games, I think, with Sanchez, and Tim Tebow's a nice guy to have in the locker room, but at the starting quarterback spot, I'm not seeing it.
Question for them: do you think Tebow's on the final roster? And they have Barkley.
Oh, please, he's terrible.
Yeah, he sucks.
Like most USC quarterbacks, which is why I'm just not drafting that Cody Kessler kid, even if he's good. Do I think Tim Tebow makes the final roster?
It's a tough question. No.
Not unless no.
So you think they keep Barkley instead?
I think they just keep 2 quarterbacks, like most teams.
No way.
Tend to do.
Chip Kelly keeps 3. He's always had 3.
You think he's going to keep Tebow on the roster, though?
If
Unless they're going to, hey,
if he shows more promise than Barkley does, if he can run the offense better, it's a similar. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard of an offense to run, right?
See, what I tell Tim is, hey, Tim, thanks for coming in. Performed admirably in camp. We know no one else is going to sign you, so this is fine. We're going to cut you. And when Sam Bradford inevitably gets injured, we'll bring you back and be our backup quarterback during that time. But currently, we'd like to use that roster spot on somebody that's going to play. It's just because you can only play one quarterback. I mean, yeah, having a third guy.
But come on. Chip Kelly could do some fun things. Could bring Tebow in motion. You could run all sorts of goofy stuff.
Is Tebow going to want to run those? I mean, maybe he'll just be happy being on a team, but I don't think he's going to want to just be a gimmick guy.
Well, that's what the Jets tried to do with them a little bit, and it didn't work out. But also, the Jets' offensive coordinator wasn't Chip Kelly either.
That's true. Jets' offense and whatever the hell Ryan was trying to do with that, Rex was just not great. Poorly executed.
You can blame Shoddy for that one. It was Schottenheimer was the offensive coordinator. Kyle, I think his name is. Some other camp battles and the Bills.
Matt Castle, EJ Manuel.
Manuel's looking like a big bust.
I say he's still got to be the starter. I don't know. That's kind of weird to me. They were a 9-7 team, dude.
I was shocked that they took Manuel when they did.
Well, yeah, I was shocked. He was the first quarterback taken, right? He was 16.
He was the only quarterback taken in the first round, too.
I think he's got to be the starter. I mean, Castle's had a nice career, especially for a guy that didn't even start in college. Talk about USC quarterbacks. I mean, weird that the guy that in the last 10 years that's been the backup and didn't even start there has probably been the best one out of all of them. Obviously, Palmer being taken before that because he was in 2003.
Yes, Carson Palmer is probably the last good USC quarterback.
So
hey, Mark Sanchez was good for a couple of years, man.
Was he good? Was he actually good?
Well, he did what was asked of him and managed the game.
They got to the championship game a couple times, never got him over the top.
2 years couldn't quite get by the teams that were. I think the Patriots or the Steelers were one for sure. Doesn't matter because the Steelers lost us in the Super Bowl. We would have crushed the Jets. Are you kidding me? Come on. How would the Jets have scored points? Come on.
Yeah, we would have. That would not have been a pretty game.
Oh, Jim would have played in the Super Bowl though. Oh, but then he would have lost.
He would have. Would have been. Who do you give the edge to in that battle? The Castle. I mean, I think they got Tyrod Taylor and stuff too on their team, and apparently you can't discount him from things that I've heard. But I'm not. I'm going to discredit him despite the reports.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Manuel's got to be the starter. I mean, you can't give up on the guy. I mean, you at least got to see what he can do with another year of, Sammy Watkins and they bring in McCoy. Rex Ryan's style is going to be to, ground and pound, going to run the football a lot. I'm with you. I think you got to give Manuel the opportunity. The Bills defense should be really good though. Again.
Should be, and obviously that's the biggest reason why they had won 9 games last year. I can't believe that they won 9 games. Like I think with the Bills team, that's because I don't know. That was weird. That was a very poor Aaron Rodgers game.
I blame Jordy Nelson. It's not all Aaron Rodgers' fault. He hit Jordy Nelson square in the hands and he dropped the touchdown. I was super upset about that. Oh, and then Aaron Rodgers decided, I think he fumbled on the last freaking drive that we had. You know why? Because our right tackle got hurt, and I think the backup came in, and coach didn't give any help to the backup right tackle. And he got beat.
That sounds like poor execution.
Sounds like coach not. I remember coach saying that in hindsight, definitely should have given help to his right tackle.
Let's see. And then we have another quarterback battle. Houston, right? You got Ryan Mallett, I think, still there. You got Brian Hoyer.
Brian Hoyer, yep.
And you even got the good old Tom Savage.
Brian Hoyer reunited with his old quarterbacks coach in New England. I don't think Hoyer's actually terrible. He played all right with the Browns there for a while. I tell you, if the Texans just would have drafted Teddy Bridgewater or Derek Carr, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Man, if we were GMs, we would be making good decisions. That I know, based on some of the things we've discussed before. We'd also make some really terrible decisions. We'd be like any GM, but we would have made the right decisions for Houston, I think.
I think so, too.
Strongly have considered Mack at any quarterback other than what they drafted in Savage in the 5th round.
Yeah, that's too long to wait. I would have taken a quarterback in the 2nd round for sure. I mean, I guess if the Vikings are going to trade up and grab Bridgewater, then okay, I guess I'll take the next best guy I can take. But, I mean, at that point, just with the quarterbacks they had on the roster last year, you got to address that. Just got to. I don't know. Any other intriguing camp battles you can think of off the top of your head?
There's a lot of running back battles I think that could be fun. Like in Atlanta where, my boy Tevin Coleman is going to get to battle, I think, Devonta Freeman for some carries there.
That's not a real debatable one.
Tevin
Coleman's clearly should be the starter. Unless he has issues picking up the playbook, he should be the starter.
I think he's going to get a lot of carries, a lot of opportunities at the least. Should be healthy, obviously getting surgery on his toe.
If he's as good as you say he is, that line offense could be something, man.
I mean, he's not going to have to worry about a stacked box, like he did in college.
Not with Julio Jones.
Julio Jones. Obviously, Matt Ryan, as much as they like to make fun of him, is not the worst quarterback ever. Still got Roddy White as a respectable kind of guy. The offensive line, as long as they can open up holes, because he's a one-cut. Like, if he sees a hole, he's just going to get straight, and go north-south on it and try to hit a hole. And if they can open up any of their creases in their blocking scheme, I think you can find a lot of big runs from Tevin.
Someone should probably smack Jake Matthews and tell him, hey, you want to block this year?
That would probably help, having some open holes to actually run through. Hasn't been something that they've done consistently for quite a while. I feel like their line the last couple of years has been pretty poor.
Look, I just thought of a mistake that I would have made as a GM. I remember when I was really upset that we didn't grab Steven Jackson. Well, you know what? That worked out really well for us.
You wanted to fire our general manager for passing out.
I was so angry. I was like, are you serious? You just didn't like him because he's slow. Well, Eddie Lacy's slow.
Yeah, but he's young. He's slow and young, He's not always hurt. Steven Jack, I just wasn't a fan of that. I don't like signing old dudes, especially slow old dudes that have had some injuries. Especially a guy that hurt himself just running. Didn't he pull a hammy or tore his hamstring?
He did.
Something simply trying to run. Come on now, I don't want that on my team. Let's see, other battles. I hear in Cleveland it should be a good one, right? With Crowell, Duke Johnson, and Terrence West. I feel like
and Terrence West, yep.
I feel like each West and Crowell had a couple of really good games this year, and then they went out and drafted Duke Johnson, who for some people might have been, even the more explosive kind of back, especially in the passing game. He's going to offer a lot to that team. He might be hard to keep off the field. He won't be a starter, I don't think, but he's going to be kind of like Giovanni Bernard type.
Yeah.
And then in Jacksonville, you have the surprise, I think, of last year, Denard Robinson, right? As a running back. Surprised the hell out of me. I was really hoping I could get him on my fantasy team, that's for sure, and somebody else picked him up. But he's going to have to go against, TJ Yeldon, who they drafted out of Alabama. who's your more traditional back with the extra size.
Yep.
Did he get hurt though? He did.
I don't know. Probably.
Didn't he?
It's Jacksonville.
Because Jacksonville. Maybe I'm thinking of there's probably their other. I know their first round pick got hurt, right?
Yeah, that guy unfortunately is done for the season. Fowler Jr.
Yeah, that's kind of a bummer. Because we were pretty
Yeah,
high.
I was
you
right on
think
the
you were
pick.
higher on him than I was. But
Maybe I was right on the pick. I don't remember. It's too far back. I'm not even trying to remember anymore.
How about this? Who is it just going to be Darren McFadden only in Dallas, or do they
Oh
got to
my
go
God.
by committee?
Dallas.
Joseph Randle?
What are they doing? Come on. Listen, I know everyone really likes the Dallas offensive line and they're really, really good, but getting a little cocky if you think that Darren McFadden is going to be able to produce the same way that DeMarco Murray did for you. I think that's just, I don't know. McFadden's never been able to prove that he was as special a player as everyone touted him to be, I think. Personally, if I was Dallas, I would have tried to take Tevin Coleman sometime. I feel like he would have warranted a second-round pick. I mean, granted, I guess they used their second-round pick on Gregory, so that's going to end up being probably pretty good for them. Although I wasn't really impressed with him when he played Wisconsin. I don't know. I didn't see anything special from him.
From Coleman?
No, Gregory.
Oh.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I just saw Melvin Gordon running for 400 and some yards. I didn't see him doing
408. He actually got hurt too in that game.
Oh, of course he got hurt.
I think right tackle kind of obliterated him a couple of times and put him down on one play, and he just didn't get back up. And that was after a couple of quarters of him taking a beating. Now, as a pass rusher, obviously we didn't have to pass a whole lot, so that's going to be Randy Gregory's strength. He's just not that big of a dude. I mean, he has trouble. He's like 6'6", but he has trouble carrying, 235 pounds.
Yeah.
So he's really only going to be kind of, I think, of a pass rush specialist. You're not going to expect too much out of him in the run, especially if once a guy gets his hands on him, he's just not big enough to kind of fight that off. Now, he might be able to get around that eventually with technique and everything, like hand placement and hand battles and making sure that guys don't get in on him.
Yeah, that's true. But back to your Cowboys running back question. I mean, I guess I could see Randall and McFadden. I don't know who gets to start there though.
I gotta assume McFadden, since that's the free agent guy that's come in, plus Arkansas.
Jerry Jones wanted McFadden. I remember way back he was talking about trading up all those spots to get McFadden. Oh. Guess things come full circle, and he ends up getting them anyways.
Got him now. It's been a few years, some injuries, and some probably below expected, seasons. But hey, you got your guy now, finally. And I think he'll probably be the starter. I don't expect him probably to stay healthy all year, even
probably not.
And I think Joseph Randle has showed here and there that he can be a guy. I just don't know if he's going to be consistent enough. And I think honestly that Dallas probably should have kept Murray. Now I don't know if they wanted to spend that money, especially since they had to spend some money on Dez and some other things, but I don't know, that's kind of a definite downgrade from where they were at last year.
Yeah, and the other thing that's driving me nuts is people getting all like, oh, DeMarco Murray's not going to do good in Philadelphia, da-de-da. I'm pretty sure Philadelphia had a better run offense than the Cowboys, or just as good.
Yeah, at least according to the PFF grades, they were the highest-rated run-blocking offensive line in the league. Dallas, I think, was second. So it's about the same, but it's not a downgrade.
No. Murray's a one-cut back. I mean, and that's why McCoy, see you later, because McCoy's busy dancing around trying to be Barry Sanders instead of running forward.
That's true. That's true.
I mean, it looks really nice when he jukes people, but, yeah, it would drive me nuts as a coach. Like, what are you doing?
If it's not producing big plays, then yeah, it's not. It might look nice, but you're still not going forward. So it defeats the whole purpose of making people miss.
And even when the Packers played Philadelphia last year, I remember Sproles doing a lot more damage to us than McCoy did.
Sproles did a lot of damage. A lot of teams this year, I think, more so than McCoy did. What team was that? What game was that they came back and it was literally all McCoy or not McCoy, all of Sproles. He had like a screen pass that he like almost housed. He had like a punt return that I think he almost housed on a team. It was like on the same game.
Yeah.
He was way more valuable in that game than McCoy. And in a lot of games, it seemed like he was more valuable. Other running back battle for me could be the Saints. Mark Ingram versus C.J. Spiller's down there now. But I'm gonna buy Mark Ingram low. I mean, actually, it might be buying him high right now, considering he should
You're
be the starter.
defending Mark Ingram? I thought you didn't like that guy.
I like him better than Trent Richardson.
Well, yeah, that's not hard.
If we're just going off of Alabama backs,
I like Eddie Lacy better than both of them.
That's a fair statement. Ask Cortland. Cortland's really high on Ingram as well.
So am I. I've been high on Ingram since he came out. Don't give me this.
I'm just salty because he was able to somehow – he won the Heisman, right?
He did.
That's trash. That year didn't deserve a Heisman. Comparatively to what Melvin Gordon just did, please. That's why I'm always salty on things, because I feel like he got a little extra treatment.
Who do you win the Heisman?
Backs did. I don't remember.
Was it Monte Ball? No. Monte Ball was out a different year. Who do you win the Heisman over? Was there just no quarterbacks that year?
It must have been, because I feel like usually, obviously, that's like a quarterback thing.
Usually quarterbacks are putting up ridiculous numbers.
Well, and he was the best player offensively on a team that I think was on its way to a title. So it kind of – you weren't going to give it to – like, it wasn't A.J. McCarron at the time. It was like a freshman, was it?
No, he wouldn't have been up for the Heisman debate anyways. Maybe it was a QB out of Hawaii or something. What?
Let's see, Heisman Trophy, 2009. Holy shit, that's a lot farther, a lot longer ago than I thought. Was it really 2009?
Oh, I gotta hear who this is, because I honestly I can't think. I don't remember who on earth was even up to the Heisman then.
It was 2009. It was right after Sam Bradford and right before Cam Newton. Now, obviously, Newton wouldn't have been up for it in 2009 because
he was in college.
Yeah,
winning championships.
Heisman Trophy voting. Oh my God, what a terrible year. Okay, so it was actually really close. It was a super close vote between him, Toby Gerhart, because at Stanford, he had a hell of a year at Stanford, and Colt McCoy.
Oh my, come on.
Was third, and Texas would have won the title had he stayed healthy in that game against Alabama.
Oh, please. Are you kidding me? Colt McCoy?
With Colt McCoy. And then actually, Ndamukong Suh was fourth.
Wow.
He was within 500 points, actually, at first. It was a really close vote that year. So there wasn't anybody that really stood out, it looks like.
Wow.
So they gave it to the best player on the best team.
That's crazy. Huh. Interesting. I would not have remembered that.
Toby Gerhart. Tim Tebow, by the way, was fifth. Was that the year that they lost to No, because he won the Heisman that year.
He won the Heisman the year they lost to Michigan? That was Lloyd Carr's last year.
Yeah.
And he retired and went off into the sunset.
But anyway, I don't know if there's much else really to talk about. We mostly just hit offense and then Green Bay stuff, so we don't really know about defensive rookies and second-year guys that are. Maybe we can research that and talk about those guys next week or something.
We could. Yeah, maybe that's what we'll do next week. We'll talk about, maybe some impact rookies or something, or rookies we think will have an impact. But yeah, otherwise, it's kind of slow right now, so bear with us. But, coming up here, we'll have maybe a fantasy preview, too.
Oh, yeah, we could do that because I guess some teams might have to start drafting in some leagues. I also wanted to kind of give a shout-out. I don't know if you paid any attention to what's going on with the Cubs. Hate the Cubs. But Kyle Schwarber, former Indiana baseball player, actually hit 2 home runs the other night Did you see that?
I did see that. I didn't know he was from Indiana, but yeah, I did see that.
Yeah, he hit the 2 home runs, one to tie it in the ninth, and then the game winner, I
Yeah,
think,
and
in
then
the
the game
13th.
winner. Yep.
The dude's a beast right now at the plate as a rook. You know, they called him up. He just got drafted, I think, last year. He flew through the system, and now he's, you know, on a big league roster.
Wow.
He got called up again. So he got called up a couple weeks ago because of some injuries and everything else. Played 10 days, played really well, and then he got demoted when those guys came back off the DL.
Sure.
But now he got brought back up, and he's been hitting like, I don't even know, man. It's absurd, like his average and everything. And some people, you know, during the scouting process thought that he wasn't a great catcher as like a defensive catcher. But my God, can he hit? You know, if he makes up for whatever sort of errors or whatever else you think he might be doing behind the plate. I think he's making up for it at the plate as a batter. So it's kind of cool to see that going on. You know, he was part of, I think, the resurgence here at Indiana for baseball and getting us to the World Series a couple of years ago, which was really exciting for us. So just kind of wanted to give him some props too while we're here. Not that anyone's going to notice it, but I'm doing it.
Fair enough. Well, with that said, we'll hopefully, you know, have something little to discuss next week. But until then.